AJ Free. First, let me just say thank you. And before we begin, I want to thank BET President and CEO Scott Mills and everyone who helped make this collaboration between BET and the Good Network possible. Today is June 16th, 2026, day 8 of the Protection is Power 10-day sprint, which means we are now just 3 days away from Juneteenth, 3 days away from the finish line, 3 days away from a challenge we issued to communities across America. Have the conversation. Ask the question. Make sure the people you love are protected. 25 years ago, the two of you helped create something bigger than a television show. You created a place where our culture could see itself, a place where our voices mattered, a place where our stories mattered, a place where young people from every corner of America gathered every afternoon to feel connected to something larger than themselves. So before we talk about protection, before we talk about wealth, before we talk about prevention, I want to acknowledge what this place represents. Because 106 and Park wasn't just a countdown. It was a community. It was a town square. It was a daily conversation between Black America and itself. This is where artists were introduced. This is where trends were born. This is where culture moved. Every afternoon, crowds gathered outside these windows, hoping to be part of something bigger than themselves. The audience became legendary. The energy became legendary. The impact became legendary. And today, 25 years later, we are gathered here for a different kind of countdown. Not a countdown of songs, a countdown to Juneteenth, a countdown to action, a countdown to a future where our communities are no longer financially exposed. Because if 106 and Park help shape what we listen to, perhaps today this historic place can help shape what we learn. And the truth is, many Black and brown families have a complicated relationship with prevention, not because we're irresponsible, not because we don't care, but because history taught us to be careful, history taught us to be skeptical, history taught us that institutions often ask for our trust while giving us reasons not to trust them. Tuskegee taught that lesson. Redlining taught that lesson. Discriminatory lending taught that lesson. Underappraised homes taught that lesson. Inferior insurance products taught that lesson. Generations of unequal treatment taught that lesson. And when enough generations experience the same thing, distrust becomes inheritance, skepticism becomes culture, and caution becomes survival. The problem is that survival strategies can become limitations when the world changes, because today refusing a health screening doesn't hurt the healthcare system, it hurts us. Ignoring high blood pressure doesn't hurt the doctor, it hurts us. Skipping annual checkups doesn't hurt the hospital, it hurts us. And refusing to learn about financial protection doesn't hurt insurance companies. It hurts our families. That's the uncomfortable truth. There was a time when access was the fight. Today, education is the fight. There was a time when doors were locked. Today, too many people are walking past open doors because nobody told them they were unlocked. And let us talk honestly about what is happening in our cities. Because behind every statistic is a family. From Chicago to New York, from Los Angeles to Baltimore, from Atlanta to New Orleans, families continue to receive the same devastating phone call every day, different cities, different streets, the same pain, the same grief, the same empty chair at the dinner table, the same question every family eventually asks, what do we do now? Because every headline is more than a statistic. It's a son, it's a daughter, it's a mother, it's a father, it's a paycheck, it's a rent payment, it's a mortgage, it's a dream, it's a future. And when those families are financially exposed, the tragedy doesn't end at the funeral. It spreads. Grandmothers step in, aunties step in, churches step in, friends start GoFundMe pages, communities pass the hat, and we call it love. And it is love. But love without preparation is still leaving too much to chance. We've become masters of recovery, but strangers to prevention. We know how to respond after tragedy. But we haven't normalized preparing before tragedy. We know how to raise money after a loss, but we haven't normalized building protection before a loss. And that's why we're here. Because protection as power is not about selling fear. It's about ending excuses. It's about helping families understand that protection is not a luxury. It's not reserved for wealthy neighborhoods. It's not reserved for people with perfect jobs. It's not reserved for somebody else. Protection belongs to every family. Now here's where the conversation gets uncomfortable. The system has failed our communities in many ways. That is history. That is fact. But one of the greatest dangers facing our communities today is not what somebody else is doing. It's what we still haven't been taught. Predatory lending still drains wealth. Families still lose homes because no plan was in place. Assets still disappear through probate. Businesses still disappear because succession plans were never created. Entire generations still restart from zero because nobody taught them how to preserve what they built. And that's why protection isn't about death. Protection is about continuity. Protection is about making sure one tragedy doesn't erase 3 generations of progress. Protection is about making sure a family's sacrifice survives the loss of a loved one. Protection is about turning survival into strategy, strategy into ownership, ownership into legacy, and legacy into power. If you think life insurance is a scam, learn the contract before you dismiss it. If you think it's too expensive, get an actual quote before believing a rumor. If you think your employer coverage is enough, ask yourself what happens if the job disappears. If you think you're too young, understand that your youth and health may be your greatest advantage. And if you think you'll handle it later, understand this. Later is not a plan. Later is where preparation goes to die. And later is where regret often begins. That's why good wealth exists. To make uncommon knowledge common. To close the educational loopholes. To bring conversations once reserved for boardrooms into living rooms. To help families move from suspicion to strategy, from fear to facts, from reaction to prevention, from exposure to protection, because we are not hurting the system by staying uncovered. We're hurting ourselves, we're hurting our children, we're hurting the people who will have to carry the burden after us. Enough. Enough myths, enough excuses, enough waiting, enough families starting over, enough GoFundMe campaigns becoming the plan, enough communities carrying preventable financial pain. The new standard is simple. Ask the question, start the conversation, learn the facts, build a plan, protect the family. Before Juneteenth arrives, I want every person watching this to ask every person they love one question. Are you protected? Ask your mother, ask your father, ask your grandparents, ask your spouse, ask your children, ask your siblings, ask your best friend, ask your barber, ask your stylist, ask your pastor, ask your coworker, ask everyone. And if the answer is no, don't shame them, don't judge them, teach them, because most people are not unprotected because they don't care. They're unprotected because nobody ever taught them. And that's what we're changing. That's why good wealth exists. That's why the Good Network exists. And that's why Protection is Power exists. To make uncommon knowledge common. To move our communities from suspicion to strategy. From reaction to prevention. From exposure to protection. And from survival to legacy. And as day 8 comes to a close, remember this. We only have 3 days left before Juneteenth. 3 days left to start the conversation. 3 days left to ask the question. 3 days left to make sure nobody we love is left exposed. Because movements are not built by speeches. They are built by conversations. Conversations become action. Action becomes preparation. Preparation becomes protection. Protection becomes power. AJ, free. The audience, everybody watching at home. The truth is no longer hidden. The information is available. The door is open. Now it's our responsibility to walk through it, because protection is power. Every family, every community, every future. Now, if you believe no family should ever be left exposed again, I want you to say it with me. Protection is power. Protection is power. Protection is power. One more time. Protection is power. Thank you.